Wasn't plugged in initially, so we had to. I was almost about to click go on this live stream on our podcast, our Panther-Lair Post-Game here on Saturday night, October 23rd, 2021. I was just about to click go until I realized the microphone wasn't plugged in. Now it is, and we are live. And whatever big statement I was going to make to start this thing off, whatever great monologue I had to sum up the events of the day, I don't have anything like that. I don't have any monologue. I don't have any big point to make. I don't have any big statement to throw out there and get everybody to say, wow, that's really something I didn't think of. Because you've thought of all these things already. There's nothing I'm going to sit down here and say, and this is a great way to sell the podcast right off the bat. There's nothing I'm going to sit down here and say that you didn't already think today. Because the thing to say, the biggest thing to say, the number one thing to say right off the bat, before you talk about anything else, and there are plenty of things to talk about, Pitt just beat Clemson 27-17 in a game that finishes a 10-point score. Didn't really feel that close. And once Pitt got going, they controlled this game. I would say for 3 out of 4 quarters, Pitt was in control against a team that was expected to be the best team in the conference, against a team that was expected to be one of the best teams in the country. And 8 weeks into the season, after everybody's played 6 or 7 or sometimes 8 games, those preseason perceptions don't matter anymore. We know that. It doesn't matter what anybody was expected to do before the season. It doesn't matter what anybody thought a team was going to be. It doesn't matter, whether a team has lived up to what they were expected to be, what they were expected to do. None of that stuff matters. I mean, the reality is Clemson came into this game 4-2. They already had a loss in the ACC. Preseason expectations stop mattering as soon as the season starts. And we know that this Clemson team came in with weaknesses. We know that this Clemson team came in struggling in some key areas, most notably offense. But Pitt still went out, did what it needed to do, took care of business, and like I say, I would say it was the better team. And not just because they finished ahead, but they were the better team. And you could take your star rankings and your ratings and your class and your recruiting rankings and all those things, and we think those things are very important. And they are very important. They're often a very clear indicator of a team's success and how good a team is and how good a team can be. You could take all those things and set them aside, because when two teams meet on the field, you get a sense of who's the better team. And tonight, and probably I would say 10 out of 12 times, if you put these two teams together on the same field 12 times, Pitt's the better team 10 out of 12. Maybe more. Pitt was the better team tonight. I think we realized they were the better team coming into this game, and they're absolutely the better team coming out. And I'm still holding back from some of that talk that grew in the last couple of weeks about where this team could go or what this team's ceiling could be or where they could really fit in on the national scale. I'm still holding back on that, okay? There's still 5 games to play and plenty of opportunities against talented and good ACC teams, challenging ACC teams. There are opportunities for a stumble. There are opportunities for a slip-up. But by God, on October 23rd, 2021, at around 9:20 p.m. or whatever time we're sitting here talking, Pitt is the best team in the conference. They are the best team in the ACC. Who are you taking? You taking Pitt or Wake Forest? Who are you taking? You taking Pitt or NC State? Because NC State, let's bring it up here. This is the fun of doing a live show. Let me bring up the website here and check the scores. Because NC State at halftime is up 17-14 on Miami. They're getting everything they can handle from the Hurricanes, who are not very good. Pitt is the best team in the conference right now, as we sit here right now. And maybe NC State comes back and they win 55-14 and we change our opinions about that. But Pitt's the best team in the conference. Wake Forest, they won. They're still undefeated. And that's all well and good. But did you see what they did against Army? Or more importantly, did you see what Army did against Wake Forest? Because the final in that game was 70-56. And if Army can put up 56 on Wake Forest, I feel pretty confident that Pitt could probably score a bunch on Wake Forest. And you can't go, it's not a perfect comparison to do it like that. Well, this team did this, then that team could do that. But I'm taking Pitt over any other team in the conference right now. They've established themselves as such. Because this Clemson team, while they've got holes and while they've got weaknesses, and they've obviously got a lot of issues to figure out on offense, there's still a lot of talented guys on that team. That defense is very talented, and they played like it today. They played like it all season. And that offense has talented players. And if they figure it out, and if they put it together, they're going to win more games. They're not going to go 3-9 or something, or 4-8 or something like that. Yeah, they've got 3 losses already. Yeah, their national championship hopes are out the door. Yeah, they're not going to make the playoffs, and that team knows it, and it's going to be a test of their mettle and their resiliency of how they bounce back in this situation, and how they continue to play when they know that, their window for achieving their goals, which their goals coming into the season with the college football playoffs, that window has closed. They are no longer an option. And we'll see how they play and how they respond to that going forward. But that's still a really good team. Today, for the second quarter, the third quarter, and by God, especially for the fourth quarter, Pitt was a better team. And I don't think there was any doubt. It wasn't really that close. And even though this game turned into 27-17 with Clemson almost possibly threatening, forcing Pitt into some third downs on what could have turned into it could have been a change of possession that gave Clemson an opportunity to cut the lead to 3. Even though they made it sort of close, did you ever really feel like Pitt wasn't in control of this game? I didn't. After the first quarter, yeah, it didn't look good. First quarter, Clemson's up 7-0. First quarter, Pitt goes punt, fumble, punt. And actually, they punt. That last punt came at the beginning of the second quarter. But what I said all along, what I said all week long, and if you listen to the podcast on Wednesday night, if you listen to the Panthers Insider Show on Saturday morning on The Fan, if you talk to me, if we had a conversation at some point, what I said over and over again was like, look, this is the best defense they're going to face this season, and it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. They're not going to go up and down the field like they did against Georgia Tech. It's not even going to be as easy as it was against Virginia Tech when they faced some challenges and eventually broke through. It's going to be a tough defense. It's going to be hard for this offense to move the ball. But what they're going to have to do, and what I believed that they would do, and what they ultimately did, is don't get discouraged. Don't get frustrated. Don't press. Just keep chipping away, and eventually the offense will break through. And eventually the offense broke through. Pitt's offense started with first drive, 3 plays for -1 yard. Next drive, 3 plays for 6 yards. Next drive, 9 plays for 22 yards. Next drive, 5 plays for 40 yards. So over the course, and their next drive, 5 plays for 43 yards. So well into the second quarter, on 5 drives, they were averaging about 20-some yards per drive. A couple of 3-and-outs, 4 punts, and a fumble. That's a struggle. That's a big struggle for an offense that's supposed to be really good. Oh, man, their offense is struggling. They're not going to be able to do anything against this Clemson defense. This is the game. They're finally going to blow it. Why did we get optimistic? Why do we think this team was going to be so good? Oh, man, it's all falling apart. They stink. They stink. They stink. Final stats. 464 yards of total offense. No one else this year has topped 400 yards against Clemson offense. Georgia didn't top 400 yards against Clemson offense. North Carolina State, who beat Clemson, only had like 397, and they needed overtime to get there. Pitt goes for 464. This offense is legit. This offense, I'm not going to say they can't be stopped. They can be stopped. Things can happen. A fumble today. There at some point, I think, and I can't guarantee this. There are things that I will guarantee. I will not guarantee this, but at some point, you would think one of Kenny Pickett's passes is going to end up in the hands of a defender. At some point, he's going to throw another interception this season. I think things will happen. This offense will run into different struggles, but I am betting on this offense finding a way to break through against every defense they face the rest of this season. These 5 teams they're going to face over the course of the rest of the regular season, they will break through against every single one of them. I'm fairly confident about that. And they'll do it with the pass, and they'll do it with the run. And you see the guy on the picture right there, Kenny Pickett, number 8, is the reason this thing will keep working. Is the reason this offense will keep going. Because this guy, Kenny Pickett, man, this guy, 2 touchdown passes, right? One of them, he's rolling, he's on his back foot on a 3rd down, and he throws it into the end zone, and it's so perfectly placed that Jordan Addison catches it with a man covering him and doesn't even go to the ground. He catches it and stands there. Okay? His next touchdown pass, it's a 4th down. He lines up and he already sees he's got it. If you listen to the Kenny Pickett show this week, I asked Kenny, it was a question from the fans, how often do you come to the line of scrimmage and look and see what the defense is doing and say, we got this. I know this play is going to hit. And he said, it does happen a certain amount of times. I forget if he gave a percentage. Well, he said after the game today that touchdown pass to Taysier Mack, he knew it as soon as they lined up. The only thing he wanted to do was just not screw it up. Don't overthrow him. And he didn't. Placed it perfectly. And those 2 passes, as good as they were, might not have even been his best plays of the game. The 2 runs on 3rd down in the 4th quarter are huge, big-time plays. Big time. And I don't know what they mean for his NFL draft stock. I don't know what they mean for the Heisman Trophy. I don't know what they mean for All-ACC or All-America or anything else. That was one guy taking the team on his back. When he ran for that 1st down, the first time on that drive in the 4th quarter, 3rd down, he drops back. Everybody's covered. He takes off running. And as he's going to the sideline, Skalski, their best linebacker's closing on him. He's closing. And Kenny's got to get to that stick. And Skalski's coming hard. And as it's happening, in my head, I said, he's getting this. There's no way they're keeping that guy from getting past that stick. And by God, he dove for it. Now, 3rd and 6, a few plays later, a quarterback draw? You know the stones you have to call the quarterback draw in that situation, 3rd and 6, when you are trying to cling to the lead. You're trying to hold on and close the game out. And that is the play. And Pitt called a timeout before that play. I think there was 5 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game. So plenty of time. If you don't get that, you're at your own 40. If you don't get it, I mean, you're punting, right? You're not going to give them you're not going to try on 4th down in that situation and give them the ball back in Pitt territory. So you're punting. So now your defense is going to go back on the field with 5 minutes left to go in the game, trying to hold them from scoring and potentially kicking an onside kick. And you call a quarterback draw on 3rd and 6. I never saw that play call coming. There were a few. There was one, the 3rd and 2 that came after that. I thought they would run some like a read option play, and they did. And it was sort of similar to the play where Kenny Pickett scored a touchdown last week at Virginia Tech when he ran a read option. He kept the ball in that situation. This time he handed it off to Vincent Davis. Davis got 6 yards on a 3rd and 2. I kind of predicted that. I thought that would be a play that made sense for them to run. The quarterback draw on 3rd and 6, though. The Stones to call that play. And then the Stones to run it and execute it. And you saw it in Kenny Pickett. You saw it when he came up. He gets through. He gets 7 yards. He's tackled. When he got up, I mean, you talk about a guy being fired up. I'm looking forward to talking to him this week on the Kenny Pickett show. This team right now they have a lot going for them. They've got a defense that is not perfect. They got some bend but don't break to them. And they're going to give up some plays. But they're playing pretty well. They make it difficult. They don't make it easy for the opponent to march down the field. They've got some wide receivers in Jordan Addison, who got hurt in this game, but made some incredible catches prior to that. Taysier Mack seemed to bounce back and had a nice game. Jared Wayne made a couple key catches after having some big games the last 2 weeks. Lucas Krull has a fumble, but then he makes a huge catch on It wasn't on that last drive. It was the drive before that. He had a third down catch. It was a 3rd and 3 on the drive that ended in a field goal. Took a ton of time off the beginning of the fourth quarter. He had a 13-yard catch on 3rd and 3. Lucas Carl, huge weapon. The running backs, right? I mean, as we're talking about all the elements that this team has, the running backs are playing at a high level. And we'll talk about this, I'm sure. And we're going to get to all the the comments here in the live stream in a second. I just want to throw a bunch of my thoughts out there first. And I see everybody jumping in. I appreciate it. It's great to see everybody on the chat so far tonight. The running backs are and I know what you want to say about Vincent Davis, but I mean, he played pretty well. He played pretty well in this game. I still think, Izzy Abanikanda is a better option. Rodney Hammond came in and was running like a bat out of hell in the fourth quarter. He had 3 quarters of pent-up energy before he had to come in because Izzy Abanikanda got hurt, and he ran like a monster out there. All right, the backs are playing at a really high level. The offensive line, I mean, you give credit to these guys. They were getting beat up a little bit in that first quarter, and then they took over. And that O-line, as much as anything, took over this game and really kind of controlled it, especially in the second half. And they've done it 3 fourth quarters in a row now that this offensive line has controlled the game. But with all of that, it all comes to a head with that quarterback. You know, all those elements, they form like Voltron, and Kenny happens to be the head, right? Kenny Pickett is the key to this team. And we've said that all along. But what we've also said all along, and what we've said for so long, is that if you really want to win, if you want to have a great football team, you have to have a great quarterback. You can't win without a great quarterback. And there was a great example of the opposite of that on the other sideline today, where poor quarterback play held back a team full of really good athletes. And then on this sideline, on the home sideline, there was a team with really good athletes and a great quarterback. And it's in his play, in the passes. It's in his composure, which I think as this offense was struggling, I don't think there was ever any panic. I don't think there was any frustration. I don't think there was any discouragement, or they weren't pressing. And I think that's because of the tone he sets. I talked about this last week, and I think it was the case again here. And then it's his ability, his desire to put this team on his back and take him a long way. Today, he took him to a win that I think is a win that means a lot to Kenny Pickett. Because look, you look at his career against Clemson, 8 yards passing in the ACC championship game in 2018, did not play well last year. He talked to us about this. He talked to us 2 weeks ago about how one of the things he came back, when he decided to come back to Pitt, one of the things he wanted to do was get a win at Lane Stadium. Because he never won there. He's played there twice. Played there in 2017 when they lost. Played there in 2019 when they lost. And it was really ugly in 2019. He wanted to get a win there. He got that 2 weeks ago. One of the other things he wanted to do was play better against Clemson and beat Clemson. Well, he played his ass off, and they beat Clemson. Checking his final line here before we get into everybody's comments and questions. 25 of 39, 302 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's a stud line right there. And actually, here's the last thing. I think we've said for a while, and for a guy like Kenny Pickett to get recognition nationally, and he's gotten a lot heading into this, you've got to have that sort of that signature game against a marquee opponent. And I don't even know if this game is his signature game, but he did it against a marquee opponent. And for whatever you want to say about Clemson being up or being down, their defense is up. You know, maybe the second best defense in the country behind Georgia. And Kenny Pickett just threw for 300 yards on him, and he ran a friggin' 7-yard quarterback draw on 3rd and 6. Kenny Pickett just beat Clemson's top-ranked defense. What a game. What a game. All right. So many comments and so many questions. Great to see everybody jumping in the live stream tonight. I didn't even get my beer open yet. Let's see what we got. This is something I have had for a while, but I haven't opened it. This is from a brewery called Glutenberg. They're in Canada somewhere, Montreal or something like that. And it's their double IPA. And 3:30 game. It's Panther-Lair Post-Game after dark. Big win. We'll have the double IPA. We still love our friends at Aurochs, gluten-free brewery out in Emsworth, but got to get the double IPA out on a night like this, right? All right, let's jump in here and see what's going on in the comments and the questions. Remember, if you want to make sure your comments and questions get read, you can be Super Chatter. Click the little $sign down there at the bottom. You can support the podcast with a couple bucks, and you can be a Super Chatter. Will definitely get to your comments and questions if you do that. A lot of comments and questions in there already. I don't want to miss anyone, but if you're a Super Chatter, we will definitely get to it. So RJC Man 38, right off the bat, I think he was a Super Chatter before we even started. We appreciate you for doing that. We'll get to your questions, I'm sure, in your comments. Michael B. as a Super Chatter says, "Hi, Chris. What a win, huh? 3 quick questions. Will Pickett win the Heisman? Will Pitt play in the Peach Bowl? And how many top recruits do you think will choose Pitt because of this special season?" All right. 3 questions. Will Kenny Pickett win the Heisman? My automatic response to this question, all right, like my gut instinct reflex is no, probably not. He plays for Pitt. He's not going to get it. It's going to be somebody from Alabama. It's going to be somebody from Georgia. It's going to be somebody from Oklahoma or Ohio State or Oregon. That's my gut instinct reflex reaction. But damn, man, I don't know what else he could do. If Pitt keeps winning, this is what it is. If Pitt keeps winning and he keeps playing like this, and he's done it now for 7 games. This is 7 games, people. We're not in small sample size territory anymore. We're past the halfway point of the season. 7 games. If Pitt keeps winning and finishes this season with, say, 10 wins, all right? And after a game like this, it's hard to say only 10. You know what I mean? It's hard to not say, my God, they could go 11-1. If Pitt keeps winning and he keeps playing like this, he's going to be in New York City. I don't see how you would keep somebody out playing at the level he's playing if Pitt continues to win. And team success is a big part of it. We know that. The team has to have success for individual players to get that kind of recognition. So Pitt's going to have to keep winning. But if Kenny Pickett keeps playing like this, they are going to keep winning. He can make up for a lot, and he can cover for a lot. Will Pitt play in the Peach Bowl? Is Michael B's next question. I don't know. I don't know what the bowl assignments are going to be like. I don't know what the bowl invites are going to be like. Look, Pitt right now has a path where these final 5 games they play, they're going to be favored in every one of them, or at least they should be. And the expectation will be that they win every one of these games because they should. With the way they're playing right now, with the way this offense is playing, where they don't really look like they can be stopped for a full 60 minutes, and the way this defense is playing, where they can make enough stops over the course of 60 minutes to let their offense outscore the opponent, I mean, I don't think you should make any plans for the postseason just yet. Don't book your flight anywhere, whether it's to the Peach Bowl or whether it's to the Pinstripe Bowl. Don't make any plans yet. All right. I mean, start off with thinking about whether or not you want to go to Charlotte, because that should be, that's the first destination Pitt should have in the postseason. There's no reason, they should not win the Coastal Division. And we're looking at, keeping an eye on the scores here. Looks like third quarter, Virginia's leading Georgia Tech 27-24. If Georgia Tech wins that game, if Georgia Tech could come back and win that game, it would take an epic collapse for Pitt to not win the Coastal. And at this point, it would take maybe not an epic collapse, but it would take a considerable collapse for Pitt to not win the Coastal, even though they're only 3-0. They have 5 games left to play, and anything can happen and all of that. But, Pitt should be the one who does it. Pitt should be the one that comes out of the Coastal and goes to Charlotte. So I can't really think about whether they're going to be in the Peach Bowl or where they're going to end up playing in the postseason. But they've got a path ahead of them that could lead some pretty interesting places. All right, last one. How many top recruits do you think will choose Pitt because of this special season? I can't put a number on that, but I think I look at you look at that class of 2023 with Rodney Gallagher from Laurel Highlands. I actually talked to him almost right before we started up this podcast. He's excited about Pitt right now. I think he likes Pitt a lot. Quentin Martin, the stud from 2024 class at Bell Vernon, he is a big-time prospect, potential 5-star guy. He's really high on Pitt right now. He got a chance to talk to LaShawn McCoy, and that was really exciting, and everybody was, he really liked that, and I think Pitt's in really good shape with him. It's always sort of that next class, but man, if they can really make some hay this year and have that kind of special season, they can recruit at a pretty high level for that 23 and 24 class. And they're setting themselves up to do so. All right, when we get to more super chatters, everybody's comments are jumping in here. I'm going to get to as many as I can. Kevin Ploucha says, Chris, I can't drink beer, but I've got water instead because my voice is shot. Incredible game. So glad I went. Incredible atmosphere. Also, Kenny Heisman Pickett. We haven't even mentioned the crowd and the atmosphere. I mean, it was outstanding. I mean, it was a great crowd. They officially announced it at 60,549 or 594 was the official announced attendance. I don't know if exactly that many people were there, but what I said all week, people would ask me, how many do you think they'll get? What will attendance look like? And I said, look, I think it'll be somewhere between 50 and 60,000. But what I said was, even if they only have 51, 52, 53,000 people there, it'll feel like a really good atmosphere. Even though you've got 15, 16,000 empty seats, it'll feel like a really good atmosphere with that many people in the building, and that was the case. So, I mean, they announced 60,000. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was less, but it felt like a great atmosphere. You know what I mean? I think people tweeted that they saw it then on TV. It looked like a great atmosphere. I know being in the building, it felt like a great atmosphere. People were loud. People were excited. Press box was shaking a little bit. That doesn't usually happen. I can't remember the last time I felt that press box shaking at a Pitt game that I covered. And it did. It did today a bunch of times. People were fired up. It was a great, great crowd. I got to give a quick shout out to Home Field. HomeFieldApparel.com. You got to go check them out. They just dropped a brand new shirt. And I got to thank you, Derek Tan, for mentioning this. Home Field dropped a brand new Pitt shirt, a Pitt is it shirt. I don't have it on because I'm wearing what I wore to the game. But Home Field dropped a brand new Pitt is it shirt on their website today because of this win. HomeFieldApparel.com. You have to go check it out. It's an outstanding shirt. I always talk about Home Field. They've got great logos and great designs. It's a high quality shirt. It's great. I mean, it's a really great product. Super soft shirt, a shirt that always fits well and keeps its shape. All those things I always say about it. And look, you go on there now. If you're a first-time shopper at Home Field, you can use the promo code LAIR, L-A-I-R, and you can get 15% off your order. So go do that right now. Get their sweet new Pitt is it shirt. Maybe you'll even have it by the Miami game. If not, maybe probably the North Carolina game or sometime. HomeFieldApparel.com. Check out their Pitt stuff. Promo code LAIR, L-A-I-R. Speaking of promo codes, and this is the last little promo I'll read until later in the show, and we'll get back to the comments and questions. Panther-Lair.com right now. Panther-Lair.com. Promo code PITTWIN. P-I-T-T-W-I-N. One word. Get you free Panther-Lair.com through the end of the regular season. This season is shaping up to be something pretty spectacular. It looks like. You can get free Panther-Lair.com, free Pitt coverage, the best Pitt coverage, free until the end of the regular season. Go to Panther-Lair.com, sign up with promo code PITTWIN. P-I-T-T-W-I-N. PITTWIN. Pitt wins. Oh, man, I got the promo code wrong. Pitt wins. I had to go check it really quick. P-I-T-T-W-I-N-S. Pitt wins. One word. Promo code. This code is only good through next Friday. Okay? From now until next Friday, you can use this promo and get a free trial of Panther-Lair.com through the end of the regular season. Don't miss out on this. All right. Joe New is a super chatter. He says, complete game. F yeah. Refs notwithstanding. Servassier Dennis was amazing. A few more wins and Panarduzzi earns an extension. PSU sucks. a lot of things you just piled in there. Yeah, the refs, I mean, Pitt, I thought the officiating was terrible all around. I thought there were missed calls on both sides, missed calls that could have gone against Pitt, missed calls that could have gone against Clemson. I don't know how you don't call targeting on the play that ultimately seems to have injured Servassier or Israel Abanikanda. I mean, there were some weak calls out there, some weak holding calls. It was bad. I think the officiating was bad, and I don't know why. I don't know. No conspiracy theories here, but I think the officiating was bad all around. Servassier Dennis, though, the pick six on a shovel pass, I've never seen it. I've never seen it before. I can't believe that play. That was unbelievable. And Servassier Dennis, to his credit, said he was just in the right place at the right time. He ran a blitz, came in unblocked, and it was just sort of the perfect timing, the perfect time for him to run that blitz. And he picks it off on a shovel pass and runs 50 yards for a touchdown. Huge play in the game. Huge play. And credit to him, man. I think there was some feeling that maybe he wasn't having a great season earlier in the year, but he definitely made his mark today. No question. All right, David Aniter, coming in as a super chatter. We appreciate it. Thank you. DJ Dennison, he just says, just take my money. Hey, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate your support. 220 said, this is for Cook and Starkey, you dolts. I guess these two will grudgingly hop on the bandwagon now. If anyone sees them, push them off. Listen, here's the thing. Whether you're talking about local media, you're talking about other Pitt fans, or anybody who wants to say to you, Pitt has always let us down in the past. Look, the truth is, they haven't won a national championship since 1976. How long is that? 47 years? 45 years? I mean, that's true. They haven't won a national championship since 1976. They haven't won more than 10 games in a season since the early 1980s. They've only won 10 games in a season once since the early 1980s. Pitt has had a lot of average to mediocre teams, and sometimes worse. They've had a lot of bad teams. This is true. Okay, if anybody wants to come up to you and say that, they're right. You can't argue with that. They have been bad over the years. But I don't think you should let that, and this partially is for like local media, but this is for Pitt fans as well. Don't let that blind you to what you're seeing right now. Because what you're seeing right now is a team in all three phases playing at a really high level. And you're seeing a quarterback, as much as anything, who is doing some pretty special stuff and playing at a really high level with a really good wide receiver, a really good tight end, and an offensive line that is coming together, and running backs that seem to be really coming into their own. There's a lot to like with this team, and you don't have to spend all your time waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for them to lose a game or waiting for them to struggle. They very well might lose a game in the final five. Wouldn't be a shock. Football's a funny game. I think Pitt is the best team in the ACC, but I don't know that I necessarily think they're so far ahead that they're immune to a hiccup, or immune to, I don't think they're so far ahead that they can come out and play less than their, or play significantly less than their best and still expect to win. Things could happen. But I don't think that totally, I don't think the fear of that happening should outweigh what they've done so far and what they look poised to do and what they look like they have the potential to do. This is 7 games now. And yes, Western Michigan is one of those 7 games. And you don't get that one back. You can't do anything to undo it. And you're not going to take that stain off your resume. Would it be better right now if they were 7-0? Absolutely. They'd probably be on the verge of a top 10 ranking, if not in the top 10 already. All right, yeah, and that would be great. But that's not the case. They had a bad day against Western Michigan. They blew that game. Maybe they learned some lessons from it. They've played much better since then, and they look pretty damn good right now. Take them for what they are right now. Don't let the past influence how you evaluate them or how you look at them. And kind of like I said last week, just enjoy it. If you're a Pitt fan, or even if you're local media, enjoy what this team is doing right now. It's pretty fun to watch. Let's see. More super chatters in here. I got different. Some guys are. Oh, I'm losing my super chatters. Where are you guys? I see them all here. Mark Doyle says, he's so right about Kenny Pickett. Concerned about Jordan Addison. He really hit the ground hard. That was scary. Yeah, that was a great catch by Jordan Addison, but it was scary when he came down and hit the ground like that. That was pretty frightening. I guess they said on television that he was in the concussion protocol. I guess. They didn't announce that to. They didn't announce that to the media or anything like that, but I guess they said it on television. We'll have to see. Obviously, he's a big weapon for them. They're going to need the other guys to step up, though. If Addison has to miss time, if he possibly can't play against Miami, I mean, Taysir Mack's going to have to be the man. Jared Wayne's going to have to be the man. Shockey Jacques-Louis got a lot of playing time today. Melky Stovall got a lot of playing time today. Made a really good play, too. Stovall did. Jalen Barden's going to have to step up. These guys, they're going to have to play at a high level because, if they miss, if Addison has to miss time. All right. I think we got through most of the super chatters. Let's get into some more comments and questions, what everybody has to say here. Scrolling down. Kyle Peterson says, great win. I think Rodney Hammond is running back 2 ahead of Vincent Davis. See, I think, you look at stats, and there's no denying it. Hammond goes 11 carries for 66 yards. That's an even 6 yards per carry. Izzy Abanikanda goes 9 for 56. That's 6.2 yards per carry. Vincent Davis goes 12 for 30. That's 2.5 yards per carry. It seems obvious on who should be the number 1 back and maybe who should be the number 2 back. But I think Vincent Davis does have a role in this offense. It doesn't just have to be in a third down situation. I think they could mix and match their backs in the middle of a series. They tend to have one guy at the start of a drive and stick with it through the whole possession. I think maybe there was once in this game where they switched backs in the middle of a drive. That might have been when Abanikanda got hurt, or maybe there was one other time too. That's probably the thing they need to do is mix and match in the middle of drives, particularly as they build longer possessions. They probably need to do a little bit more of that, which I haven't, I don't think we've seen enough of. But I think Vincent Davis has a role here. I mean, he made some nice plays. It just so happens that Hammond and Abanikanda looked even better. And when Rodney Hammond came in, he looked like something else. He had another gear, and he was running really hard. DC3 says, H2P, gotta love the focus, and after not starting off hot, the defense kept us right there until the offense found their footing. Let's keep this rolling. I think that's absolutely right. The defense kept them in the game. And some of that was Clemson missing plays. Clemson dropped passes. Will Shipley dropped a short touchdown pass where he beat John Patrician. Patrician might have slipped a little bit, but Shipley had it in his hands and he dropped it. And it was a clear and easy touchdown, and he just couldn't pull it in. And you're gonna have to clean those things up. But I mean, that's gonna happen against this defense. I think overall, they played pretty well. I haven't even looked at the final stats. I mean, DJ Uagalele was under 50% completions for 128 yards and 2 interceptions. Total offense, Clemson finished with 315 yards of total offense. Pitt outpossessed them, though, by 12 minutes. And so much of that was in the fourth quarter when they had 13 minutes possession. I've been updating this stat. I've been throwing this stat out all week about how in the fourth quarter at Georgia Tech and the fourth quarter at Virginia Tech, Pitt had 23 minutes and 16 seconds of possession. Today, in the fourth quarter, they had 13 minutes and 26 seconds of possession. So if you add up the last 3 fourth quarters, they've possessed the ball for 39 minutes and 42 seconds. You're averaging 13 minutes plus of possession every fourth quarter in the last 3 games, in ACC games. think about that number for a second. You're giving your opponents, on average, less than 3 minutes of possession in the fourth quarter. I mean, for an offense that started the season looking like their big thing was they could hit these explosive plays, that they could just strike so quick from anywhere on the field, and I still think they have that ability to also be able to flip that switch and just drain the clock and take the air out of the ball and just sit on it and run out the clock at the end of a game. That makes you very, very dangerous, because you keep that other offense on the sidelines all fourth quarter. You only give the other team 3 minutes of possession, less than 3 minutes of possession, 2 minutes of possession. Really, we're talking about 13 minutes plus. So you're talking less than 2 minutes of possession in the fourth quarter. Nobody's going to beat you if you're sitting on a lead and you only give them 2 minutes of possession in the fourth quarter. It's going to be really hard to beat you if you can do that. And they've done it now. They did it twice on the road, both times in situations where they were leading by, such an extent that they were obviously in run situations, and the opponents still couldn't stop it. So they did it twice on the road, and then they did it at home against the best defense in the conference. One of the best defenses in the country. This offense, they can do a lot of things, man. All right, let's see here. Sean Conley says the O-line is playing great. They start slow in the running game, but when everyone knows they're going to run the ball at the end of the game, they really take control. Yeah, absolutely, Sean. They do. And the O-line took over and really kind of pushed Clemson around, which is not an easy thing to do. Garrett Sherwin says, I think they'll be fine against Miami if Israel Abanikanda and Jordan Addison don't play. That's gonna be tricky. I don't know what the status is for those guys. We won't know probably until the game on Saturday. I doubt that Pat Narduzzi is going to give us anything between now and then. And so we'll find out on Saturday if those two guys are going to play. If they don't have them, I mean, Addison's a huge weapon. I don't know if every other receiver on the team catches the touchdown pass that he caught. I don't know if every other receiver on the team makes the catch that he made that appears to be the one where he got hurt. Abanikanda, I think that, Rodney Hammond is going to be really good. And Rodney Hammond is really good. I think Vincent Davis can be pretty good too, but I still think Abanikanda has that highest ceiling. You know what I mean? I think Abanikanda is the man there. And so that would be a loss. But again, if the O-line keeps blocking like they have been and they keep establishing the run, then, I think Hammond and Davis can pull it off. But I don't know. I mean, maybe we're just all in the post-win glow and optimistic about this team's chances against just about anybody. Jason Martell following up on that same thing. I'm so impressed with the offensive line. They settled in and took control of the game. Impressive. Yep, agree with that. Brock Madonic says, great win, awesome atmosphere, fans were great. I was in attendance today. Rodney Gallagher and Quentin Martin sat a row in front of me. Rodney is a great kid. Those two guys were probably two of the biggest recruits that Pitt had at the game today, as far as we know. Gallagher, a 4-star receiver / defensive back, plays quarterback, also is a big-time basketball prospect at Laurel Highlands. He's really high on Pitt. He likes what he's seen out of the Panthers. Quentin Martin is a sophomore at Bell Vernon. He's a 4-star prospect, could be a running back, could be a wide receiver, could play defense. He could play a lot of spots and be a really, really good player. They're both studs, and they both were there today, and they both liked what they saw. Elijah Rudiger says, I honestly thought Pitt was going to lose today, but there's no doubt in my mind that Pitt will beat Miami. Nothing's a given. Nothing's guaranteed, Elijah, but I think if they keep playing the way they've been playing, they've shown that they're capable of playing like this on a consistent basis. You know what I mean? And if they keep doing that, then they're going to, they're going to have a great chance against just about everybody. Will says, we're in the driver's seat and we have a huge bullseye on our backs. Got to embrace everything that comes with success, including the underdogs that are hungry to spoil our season. Keep it going. Well, the thing is, Clemson, I think, came into this game very desperate. Clemson came into this game needing a win. They could not afford to go down to 3 losses like they did overall, because it took them out of the playoff hunt. They couldn't afford to go down to 2 conference losses because of what it would do to their chances in the Atlantic Division. They were a desperate team, and they came in with a lot of desperation, and Pitt was still better. Pitt was able to push them around and take control. Talk as Pitt says, my point there is, other teams are going to be gunning for Pitt. You know what I mean? Miami's going to be gunning for Pitt. Virginia is going to absolutely be gunning for Pitt, looking to win that one. Let's just get an update there real quick. See what Virginia's up. 40-24. They just scored a touchdown. Brennan Armstrong ran for a touchdown. So it seems unlikely that Georgia Tech's going to win that. So Virginia's going to stay alive against Pitt. And I just got a notification that Jordan Addison at least is on Twitter and tweeted "Light it up" about the victory lights. So, that seems to be a good sign, maybe for where he's at and how he's feeling after this game. Everybody else is going to be gunning for Pitt. There's no question. Virginia's going to want that game real bad. North Carolina's going to want that game real bad. Miami's going to want that game next week real bad. They're all going to be coming after Pitt, and Miami especially, if they can hold on now. It's 12 minutes to go in the third quarter, but Miami's leading NC State. If they could hold on and win that game, they're going to have some momentum coming into Heinz Field next Saturday. And that's going to be, everybody's going to want Pitt. Everybody's going to want to try and get Pitt. That's a unique position for Pitt to be in. They're not usually in that kind of a situation. And so we'll see how they handle it. But, I think, again, with Kenny Pickett sort of leading the charge, I think he'll keep those guys in the right track. Talk as Pitt says, what do you think the ranking will be for Pitt? Yeah, I was just kind of looking through the top 25. I mean, especially that bottom of the top 25. UTSA is, they're beating Louisiana Tech 42-16. UTSA is number 24. So it looks like they're going to win. San Diego State is ranked number 22. They're beating Air Force 20-0. Who else is lower? Texas A&M is number 17. They're up 44-0 on South Carolina. NC State is, like I said, they're number 18. They're losing to Miami right now, 21-17. Other teams in the 20s, I don't see a lot of other games here. Pitt was 23, obviously, and they won. Coastal Carolina lost that game on Wednesday night. App State beat them. Coastal Carolina was 14. I mean, I think Pitt at 23 in the AP with this win over Clemson, I mean, I would think they should move into the top 20. I don't know if they jump over teams that won, but I think that this is the kind of game that shows what Pitt is capable of. I think gives you a clearer idea of who Pitt is and what they can do, and what their long-term potential might be. So, I think at the very least they should jump into the top 20. But if not enough teams in front of them lose, they might only move up 1 or 2 spots. We'll have to see. Scrolling. Sports World PA says, I got there bright and early so I could do my best to cover the team, and I knew as soon as they came out for warm-ups they were going to win. They were locked in. This team seems to have a lot of focus. I don't think there's any doubt about it. They've got a lot of focus, and I think they stay focused on the task at hand. They're able to prepare well. Obviously, the Western Michigan game was the blip. That was the stumble, but they seem to be able to approach the situation with a good mindset. And again, I put a lot of the credit for that I give a lot of credit to that to Kenny Pickett. RJC Man 38 says, I'm proud of Pat Narduzzi. He's been through the gauntlet by us. Kenny Pickett is a huge reason Pitt is winning, but that defense is all Narduzzi. Yeah, and you give Randy Bates credit too for adjusting that defense and developing it over the course of the season so far, his calls. And I know a lot of people don't want to do it, but Mark Whipple's calling things pretty well too. Mark Whipple, I know Kenny Pickett said after the game that when they were facing that 3rd and 6, Kenny Pickett said, I want the ball, let me do it. But Mark Whipple has to call that draw. Mark Whipple makes these calls, and I think he's doing a good job coaching this offense. He's using his strengths, which his strength is Kenny Pickett. But I think he's doing a good job mixing and matching and keeping opponents off balance and finding ways to get guys open. Jordan Addison keeps catching passes. Even in this game where he left early, he finished with 5 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. Everybody knows Jordan Addison is the man. and yet they're able to still keep getting the ball. 10 touchdowns through 7 games, right? So I put a lot of that on coaching and game planning and coordinating. Let's see here. Scrolling down through the comments and questions. A lot of talk about the officiating, and it wasn't good. Kyle Peterson says, this is the most confident I've felt about a Pitt team in a long time. Very different vibe this year. Jeremy Tunney says, I don't know what to say. I mean, good shock. Just wow. Truly historic win for the program. Let's keep it going. Scrolling, everybody's commenting on the officials, and Ryan Waldy says Pat Narduzzi gets the game ball, 4th and 3, goes for it, puts Rodney Hammond in cold to close it. Yeah, I mean, I think Narduzzi handled this well. I tell you, the final drive of the first half, I didn't really get the sense that, I didn't know what Pitt was trying to do. They handed it off on the first play, and then they look like they're kind of, and then they end up with a holding call, and so they're back on 1st and 20, and it looked like they were just sort of giving up. They like a draw play, a draw handoff, but then they get a personal foul penalty, and they kick it into high gear, and then boom, you know what I mean? They go down and score. But overall, I kind of agree with you. I think Pat Narduzzi had a good approach. I think he made some right calls when to go for it on 4th down. I mean, I think he's done a good job with being aggressive in those situations this year. And maybe I just feel like he's done a good job with it because they've converted a lot of them. But I think everyone acquitted themselves nicely today. Ryan Wapenick says, I'm curious, how do the naysayers move the goalposts now? I know Pickett hasn't played anyone. Heisman don't lose to Western Michigan. Oh, it was. Pitt hasn't played anyone, and the Heismans don't lose to Western Michigan. Well, Kenny Pickett just put his foot on Clemson's throat. Try to move the goalposts now. Well, here's the reality, Ryan, and this is the reality for everything surrounding this team at this point. With where they've played, with how they've played so far, and the position they've put themselves in, with the schedule they have remaining, and the path that they've sort of laid out for themselves, and the opportunity that they've created for themselves, the goalposts have moved to sort of what that level of accomplishment is. Because as they've gone now, it will be a disappointment if they don't win the Coastal Division. And if it keeps going like this, it'll be a disappointment if they don't win the ACC. And if it keeps going like this, it'll be a disappointment if they... I'm not going to talk about playoffs, okay? But right now, it will be a disappointment if they don't win the Coastal. And we're not far away from it being a disappointment if they don't win the conference as a whole. And maybe we're already at that point. And so that's kind of like the way the goal... I know we talk about moving the goalposts. It's sort of a negative, and it's something that you shouldn't do, and I agree. But the reality is, as you go through a season and you achieve certain things, the goalposts do move because your goals and your objectives do move. Pitt's goals and objectives, it's winning the Coastal is still the goal, but it's there's more beyond that now because they've played themselves into a position where you should expect more beyond just winning the Coastal Division. They came into the season hoping to win the Coastal, but now I think when you look around the rest of the ACC and you look at how Pitt has played, those goalposts have moved, and rightfully so. I think they are where they should be now, which is that the expectation should be Pitt wins the Coastal and competes for and potentially wins the ACC championship. Tyler Long says Kenny Pickett only has one interception because he's putting balls in the 5th row instead of trying to force the ball. Did it one time in the first half trying to squeeze it into Jordan Addison on the sideline. Yeah, I mean, I think your point is that now I could be wrong, but I think your point is that Pickett is being smart. He's and it's so many things. It's not just that he's not trying to force it to receivers who are covered. But it's that he's seeing the field well. He's feeling the pressure well. He's doing a good job scrambling. He's doing a good job keeping his eyes downfield. And he's doing a good job not that's where it comes in that he's not forcing it. And I think it comes back to his composure on the field and his comfort level on the field and just kind of how he's seeing the field. And I think, that also ties into his scrambling where he's getting out and running well. He's just making good decisions because he looks really comfortable on the field. Even in a game like this where Clemson was getting after him a little bit and they had him running for a little while, he's doing a good job. He's being really smart with the football. And like I say, he's making good decisions. Let's see here. T-Man says, Chris, would you say that this win makes the Western Michigan game loss a wash since nobody had us pick to win this game today before the season started? Somebody, I think it might have been Johnny McGonigal from the Post-Gazette, said to me, we joked after the game. He said, yep, they're 6-1, just like we expected. And I mean, to some extent, yeah, you probably did expect them to be 6-1 at this point. You just thought the one was going to be the Clemson game and one of the 6 was going to be the Western Michigan game. It's kind of going the other way. In that sense, yes, it is a bit of a wash. There will always be kind of that lingering, could you imagine? Man, think of where they'd be right now if they didn't lose the Western Michigan. But you're not going to get anything out of that. That doesn't help anything. That doesn't accomplish anything to sort of, linger on that. It's done. They had a bad day. They had a bad day against Western Michigan. They've had a lot of good days since then. They've had 4 good days since then. And they got an opportunity for 5 more. And if they do that, there's going to be a lot going on. A lot out there. Let's see. Scroll in through a few more comments and questions before we get out here. Joe New says Syracuse may be the toughest remaining regular season game. Yeah, maybe. Virginia's going to be tough. Syracuse, their defense has been pretty good, but I just don't see how Syracuse is going to. I mean, Syracuse scored 41 on Virginia Tech, but they're such a run-heavy team. I think Pitt will gear up to stop the run, and I think they'll do a good job with it. And I also don't think. I mean, Virginia Tech scored 36 on Syracuse. Let me see if those were all defensive touchdowns. No, passing touchdown. They got a defensive PAT conversion, field goal. Rushing touchdown, field goal, rushing touchdown. I mean, if Virginia Tech can put up 36 on Syracuse, Pitt should be able to go pretty heavy on the score. Pitt should be able to get some points in there. So I'm not too worried about that. I think Virginia is going to be the real challenge. That's a really good offense. If by some chance Pitt's offense has an off day, that game could be a problem. I'd be a little bit concerned about that, and potentially that game could be to clinch the Coastal. That it could come down to that game at that point. It's very realistic. So that's the game I'm sort of circling. But you got to start with Miami, right? It's the most important one. All right, scroll through here. Oh, we got our Western Michigan fan chiming in. Listen, if you want to get in the comments and questions, you can always use the super chat. Like Joe New says, Miami, Virginia Tech, and Duke will be looking for new coaches next year. Wake Forest may lose their coach to a better program. Yeah, that's possible. It's anything could happen, I guess, in that regard. I haven't really thought too much about the coaching situations there. Although, yeah, Miami and Virginia Tech look like they're probably going to be changing coaches shortly after the season, particularly after Virginia Tech losing to Syracuse. That's never a good thing for a head coach. What else do we have here? Chancellor Pink says both lines are a big part of why this Pitt team is special. They bring pressure and can kill clock running it, but Pickett is gold. P.S. Pitt may outrank Penn State this week. I don't think so. Penn State lost, of course, at home to Illinois. Unranked Illinois. Illinois, who had, what do they have? Two wins coming into this. But Penn State was number 7. They're not going to drop. I don't know. I mean, I don't see Penn State dropping to like 22 and Pitt moving up to 20 or 19. I mean, that'd be a severe drop for Penn State. I don't know if they would fall that far, but anything's possible. So who knows? We'll have to see. See what happens there. All right, let's try and find a few more. Yeah, we got a Western Michigan fan who keeps chiming in. Oh, if you want to comment or question, you can always be a super chatter, which is a big part of it. Throw a couple bucks to the podcast. We appreciate that support, but you have to be a subscriber to our YouTube channel in order to comment or ask a question. So make sure you do that. I know people hit the likes during the live stream, but subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. That way you can comment and question during the live streams, but you'll also get a notification when we go live. So like a game like tonight, I wasn't sure what time we were going to start. Thought it'd be around 9:15 or something like that. But if you subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on the notifications, you'll get a notification when we go live. So you will never have to worry about, like, wonder what time is it going to start? What time? Wednesday nights, we always start at 8:30. That's always set. After a game, you never know. So this was a 3:30 game. We got going around 9:15. Miami next week is a noon game. Maybe we'll start around 6, maybe 7, maybe 5:30. Who knows? If you subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on the notifications, then you'll know when we go live. You'll never have any guesswork there. MTTT is a super chatter. He says, did you get a chance to talk to Shady today? He's one of my all-time favorites. LaShawn McCoy is one of my all-time favorite players to have covered at Pitt. It's fun to, it was always fun to interview him. It was always fun to talk to him. Talking to him when he was a recruit was always fun. Talking to him when he was a player at Pitt was always fun. And certainly watching him at Pitt was certainly a lot of fun. He was one of the best players I've ever seen. Play at Pitt. Larry Fitzgerald obviously stands pretty high on that list, but I would put LaShawn McCoy right behind him. But that's in the past. This year, there's some other guys playing at a pretty high level that have been pretty fun to watch. All right, looks like we passed the hour mark. Everybody's talking to the Western Michigan guy, so that's hey, be friendly. He stops in to see what's going on with Pitt. I appreciate that. Blackman614 says, stop thinking big picture, just week by week. Miami and North Carolina owns Pitt. Big hurdles ahead. Yeah, there's no question about that. These are challenging games. It's not going to be easy. There's not going to be anything easy the rest of the way. I mean, maybe Duke. But right now, with 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, Miami's leading NC State 21-20. So, and Miami's knocking on the doorstep, about to score again. That looks like they're at the 3. So you're looking at, potentially a 28-20 game with Miami in control. So Miami's not one to be slept on. Now, that could be a game with NC State being number 18. That could be a game that helps Pitt move up in the rankings. Virginia is beating Georgia Tech pretty good, so Virginia's going to be a challenge. That's going to be a game that's going to have a lot of significance for Pitt in the Coastal Division when the Panthers play against the Cavaliers in 3 weeks or so. I think Virginia goes BYU, and then they have an off week, and then Notre Dame, and then Pitt. I think is how it works. I think that's what the schedule is. But either way, it's going to be every one of these games is going to be a challenge. But Pitt thus far has been up to the challenge in the ACC games. And they faced their biggest challenge today. And I would say they passed with flying colors. 464 yards, 10 out of 18 third down conversions, 13 and a half minutes of possession in the fourth quarter. And they weathered the storm. This is the other thing. They weathered the storm. The offense wasn't working in the first quarter. They were struggling. They were in trouble. They didn't worry about it. They kept it going. And then they broke through and put more yards on Clemson than anybody else has this season. Scored more points in regulation on Clemson than anyone else has this season. They did better against Clemson's defense than Georgia did. Make of that what you will. Well, that's what happened. All right, homefieldapparel.com. Get some of the best Pitt shirts you're going to find at homefieldapparel.com. Go to that site, look at their Pitt stuff, and if you're a first-time buyer, first-time shopper at Homefield, promo code LAIR, L-A-I-R. Panther-Lair.com, Panther-Lair.com, Pittsburgh.rivals.com. It's the most comprehensive source of Pitt sports news on the internet, football, basketball, recruiting. You can find it all at Panther-Lair.com. And, of course, we have message boards where you can interact with hundreds and thousands of your closest Pitt fan friends. This is the best place for the best Pitt coverage on the internet. It's the best Pitt message board on the internet. And if you are really curious about it, now is the time to check it out. We will give you a free trial through the end of the regular season. Promo code PITTWINS. One word. Sign up with the promo code PITTWINS. PITTWINS. And you can check out our coverage at Panther-Lair.com free until the end of the regular season. That's a huge deal. We don't do these kinds of deals very often. But you know what? They just beat Clemson. They're 6-1. They're 3-0 in the ACC. They're going to be ranked. They are ranked. They're going to be ranked even higher. They're in a good place. You want to be on the best site for the best Pitt coverage as this team continues on this journey. Panther-Lair.com, Pittsburgh.rivals.com. Go there. Sign up for a subscription. Use the promo code PITTWINS. One word. PITTWINS. PITTWINS. And get a free trial through the end of the regular season. You can't lose with that deal, right? All right, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. And, yeah, I think that's about it on a Saturday night. We got plenty of work to do. We're going to have plenty of content, recruiting coverage, and everything else up at Panther-Lair.com, so I'm going to get back to that. But thanks so much to everybody who joined in on the live stream here on Saturday night. It was a lot of fun. Thanks everybody who listened to the podcast through the week. We appreciate you as well. We'll be back on Wednesday night for a regular Panther-Lair show at 8:30 p.m. right here on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. And then next Saturday, we'll be live after the game. See how it goes. Pitt, Miami, noon at Heinz Field. This team's got a little something going. Let's see if they can keep it going. So you need to stay right here, Panther-Lair.com. youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. Panther-Lair.com is the other website. You need to stay with us for the best Pitt coverage. So thanks again for tuning in. Hope you had a great day. I'm guessing you probably did. Have a great rest of the weekend, and we'll talk to you on Wednesday night.